wanted to ask you, did you ever get to play Alan Wake 2?
Alan Wake 2? No, I don't even have it yet.
It released though, right?
Yeah, it came out, bro. It got really good reviews.
Wait, you already watched the review? What, IGN review?
I didn't watch any reviews, but I'm on Threads.
Man, how did you see the reviews? I mean,
I didn't the reviews.
I'm intrigued.
But the reception. It's had a positive reception.
Yeah, like within your friends or like just the internet in general.
Internet in general, yeah.
Oh, like have you seen it through Facebook and stuff like that?
Threads, Instagram. I saw like people, the comment section in on YouTube.
What is Threads?
Threads, the new Twitter.
Oh,
new Twitter.
That's the competition. Yeah.
I have to say, like the new Twitter.
Yeah.
Is, I mean, if you've seen anything about where Twitter is now, or X, I should say.
Yeah.
It's burning to the ground.
Why?
Elon's not managing it the best way. People are unhappy on the platform.
Really?
Like, yeah, he's charging money for like stuff that used to be free. They changed the whole name. Like, how are you going to change the name?
I mean, when I left Twitter, which was like a couple months ago, it was like Elon was in charge of it.
Yeah. Well, no, he still is.
Yeah, right. But I'm like, damn, it fall apart that quick?
Yeah, bro. Like a lot of people are like dipping off. It's still popular, but it's not what it used to be. Definitely nowhere near where it used to be.
Well, welcome back to the LeisureHub Podcast. And today on episode 5, we're going to talk about why do we even need hobbies? Why do we need hobbies?
Why do we need hobbies?
Why are hobbies good for?
What are even the purpose of having hobbies? You know what I mean?
So I'll ask you first. Why do you think we need hobbies? And not as in general thing, but why do you personally think you need your own hobbies?
Well, I can tell you from an essay.
Damn, this thing is blowing up.
Your laptop
jet engine.
Pedro has his laptop plugged in like 50,000 things right now, and he has Adobe Edition running in the background.
I got everything running. But
Bro,
anyways, yeah.
I mean, your laptop will do. I mean, that program, it's because you're installing that program.
It has to be.
Yeah. If not, your laptop's going to be on fire.
Oh, yeah. It's hot.
Hotter than me?
No.
Bro, before you said I could sing, now you won't say that I'm hot. I don't know, man. But yeah. I don't know, man. I think hobbies are like important. I think it's all like a part of our culture. It's ingrained in us, right?
Right.
So I think we need that. That's how we build rapport and connection with other people.
Rapport and connection with other people. So you're saying that we need hobbies to connect with other people? But what about hobbies that just, just for you?
Like you do solo.
Yeah, like solitaire.
Bro, mental health, man. Like, think about it, right?
Yeah.
You have a wife and you have kids, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now, that's your center. So you're kind of just you're spending a lot of time with them and you're happy about that, right?
Yeah.
And that in return is your hobby right now, right?
In a way. Yeah.
But you get fulfillment out of that.
Yes.
So when you get fulfillment out of that, you kind of relieve your stress a little bit. You know what I mean? So It's the same principle that when you and I go snowboarding or when we play video games, it's like this release of stress and anxiety, and like it kind of like helps us kind of come back.
Right.
Because the world
just taking a break from our normal routine.
Yeah,
basically.
Dude, because you and I both know the world handles a lot of garbage. It throws a lot of garbage at you, right?
Elaborate.
Well, okay, so you have work, and work is stressful, as you already know, with the whole thing going on at your job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you got you have your family, and so the family, while you love them, is stressful in its own return, right? And then you got like other responsibilities that you got to do. We're doing the podcast, and so all of these things kind of build up. And when you have your own hobby to kind of decompress, it kind of like takes those problems away for a little bit.
Yes.
And then you can kind of like you like I said, you can decompress, and then you can later come back to those issues. You can deal with those issues because now you're not like pouring over with issues and anxiety and stress and mental health issues. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I one of the hobbies I'd like to decompress with is definitely video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, video games help me a lot with especially single player games. Like I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Still?
And I mean, I'm a newcomer when it comes to Red Dead Redemption 2.
You're a newcomer?
Yes. Yes. I started playing Red Dead Redemption 2 probably about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even worried about the main campaign. I'm just worried about, just doing stuff in the world, just like hunting or just riding in on my horse and just chilling.
You're being very casual about it, right?
Very casual about it. Not like I'm going in to beat the game and just move on to the next game. You know what I mean? But it's a game that really helps me decompress.
Right.
Not like COD. I mean, COD, helps me I'm having trouble with that word, bro.
Decompress?
Decompress. There you go.
Sorry.
COD is a little bit stressful than Red Dead, but I can see how other people can decompress with that.
Right.
With COD as well. I mean, especially playing with other friends.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. This is completely like I'm sidelining for a little bit.
Yeah.
How would you say something like that in Spanish? Like decompress. Like, so decompress means like
relax,
right? So how would you?
So relajarte.
You need to slow it down for everybody. Oh. He's like, let me lick my lips.
Relajarte. Yeah, man, that's perfect.
Why are you laughing at me?
Say it.
No.
Come on, you got to roll the R. Bro.
Yes, but what I've been learning in Spanish is that like when you're fluid, especially, I mean, I'm not fluid, but
he's getting there.
Yeah, people you don't roll your R's, you roll like it's like an L type of thing, like to make it faster. So when you're doing, can you like go faster now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you grew up in Puerto Rico, so I mean, I would hope that you would be able to.
I mean, like relax. You want me to say it like just
like slang? Like how would you like you're talking around? Like,
I wouldn't consider slang, but it's more of like relajarte.
Yeah. So like it's.
I feel like that's a Puerto Rican thing,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right. Whereas like with like people who are learning like me, it'd be like relajarte.
Yeah.
So like
I get it.
You know what I mean? Like I'm really emphasizing the R when I don't need to.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So is this a new hobby?
Spanish?
No, yeah. You learning hobby?
Well, I mean, so Pedro, you're from Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
And most of you people don't already know, but I'm biracial, like Logic.
Oh, why are you laughing, bro?
I'm just making it was a joke, but no, I'm half black, half Puerto Rican.
He doesn't oversay it like Logic.
I don't. But no, I don't nearly have as many podcast episodes where I talk about me being biracial. But I basically grew up with my mom. She's Puerto Rican, so I grew up in a household where she kind of spoke it. I never really wanted to learn. My grandmother, straight from Puerto Rico, like thick accent, and so I've had plenty of opportunities to learn. Now I'm at a stage where I should have learned, and I'm regretting it now. So I'm on like a kick of trying to learn Spanish. And so I've been on this program called Duolingo, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard about. And bro, like it's like a whole game. It's like a game board on your phone or your laptop.
That's kind of cool. Duolingo.
And it's like you basically go through like a whole course depending on how fluent you are, how like new you are. And I took how many years I took like 3 years of Spanish, bro, and I barely retained anything.
Yeah. From high school?
Yeah, from high school. Bro, past tense, the hardest thing ever.
Really? I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, of course you don't have to think about it. Of course you don't.
It's, I mean, I just grew up with it, but I can imagine.
You know, it's very interesting that you call it a hobby because I wouldn't have considered it. I wouldn't have considered it a hobby.
See, this is what I was getting to. Like, you're not using this to decompress. You're using it to educate and be productive. So that's another reason why we need hobbies,
right?
You know, you can.
No, I disagree with you, man.
What is it?
I just think that you're wrong, man.
Oh, go ahead.
Have you ever been around those people that just like
Yes.
they don't have anything to say, but they're just
Yeah.
like, no, I think you're
They
wrong.
like to contradict.
They don't want to accept that they are wrong.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
But you see, hobbies can be used as a way to decompress,
Yeah,
and also be productive. But they can also be both. I mean, if you have the right mindset,
actually,
you
now that you say that, I agree with you.
now you agree with.
Well, no, because I just didn't think. Yes, come on, man. Like no, I didn't really think about it that way. Like I as I'm like explaining it or my thought process, I'm like, oh yeah, like that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like you like when you go to school, right?
Yeah.
You went to school for graphic design. I went to school for web design. And like you grew to love web design for what it is, clientele, regardless, like that is its own thing.
Strictly for what it is.
Yeah. Right. But like you worked in the professional setting, right? Like you worked for a graphic design company, and like we're doing it. It's not much of a hobby anymore. It's your job.
It becomes work.
Yeah.
Yes.
But now you're not really working there anymore, and you're kind of you're doing it, right? Like for fun. Whenever, like you either for yourself or for maybe for like a freelancing type of thing.
Right. And I feel like when that stress factor starts kicking in, you stop seeing it as a hobby.
Yeah.
But I want to emphasize it's still a hobby, but that stress factor, it tells you that you need to step back a little bit.
Right.
Maybe, you don't need to quit it. You don't need to, completely forget about it, but just step back a little bit, remember what it is. It's a hobby. It's something that you love doing, and don't ever lose sight of that. And, when stress comes, that means that you have an overload of, either like work requests or, something specific like that, that you don't necessarily see it as a hobby no more. You see it as work.
Yeah.
And there's nothing bad about that, but it's just like, hey, just step back a little bit, remember why you're doing it, and try to get a little bit of that fun back.
Yeah. I can 100% say that. So Pedro and we got into snowboarding. I got into snowboarding maybe 3 years or so ago, maybe 4 years ago. And me being persuasive, I got Pedro into it.
Yeah, he did.
And you went twice, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So the first time you really liked it, but your body was super sore, right?
Oh my God! Yeah, I could barely go up the stairs. I believe you had to help me up the stairs, bro. I remember you had to help me up the stairs. I live in the second story apartment.
Yeah, I remember that.
And dude, I can't even move my legs. I had to call off work the next day.
Well, the funny thing is, I told you before we even left, I was like, dude, we were talking about it, planning it out, and I was like, dude, you might want to take off the next day. And what was your response?
Nah, I'll work.
You're like, I'll do with it. I was like, bro, I'm telling you, I went the first time, my body was extremely sore, and I was like, I'm still going to the gym, and I'm like I don't really get sore that much from the gym anymore, but I went snowboarding for the first time, and I'm still sore. So if that's a sign right there, you should probably skip. No. He texted me the next morning. And he was like, bro, I called off work.
Call off. What happened the second time I went, though?
The second time you went, you did like a lot better. You fell way less, but you ended up messing up your shoulder.
Yeah, I did.
And so I think that was last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so like he's only gone snowboarding twice. But he's super into it. Trust me.
Yeah. I
really
still love it, regardless of, the pain.
The pain, the struggle, the tears.
Yes.
The poop in your pants.
I don't remember that.
I saw the stains.
The stains. Those were old.
Those are somebody else's. Right?
Yeah. That's somebody else's.
But my point for bringing snowboarding up is that like when you're with people, like it's just a fun activity to do, right? Bro, when I'm on the mountain, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm like having fun. My mind is just on the mountain. I'm just going down.
It's like riding a bike for the first time.
Exactly. And
it's not as easy, but it's fun.
By any means it's not. By not any means it's not. And so like just going down, it kind of just like takes everything off your mind and you can just focus on the here, the now, and the present. And I think, like I was saying earlier, the connection and the rapport that you build with other people, you can have hobbies where you just do solo, but you can also have hobbies where you do it with other people. And that in return builds that connection. Like you and I are doing this podcast, and for you and I, it's more of just like hanging out and having fun than it is like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, let's report a podcast so we can like, I don't know, make a business out of it. It's just mainly just for fun.
Right.
So, and like that in return is making our connection stronger, and we're having fun doing it, right? Where it's also like releasing stress and anxiety, like I said earlier, blah blah blah. But in the whole process of doing the podcast, we've learned a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, just today, I mean, you showed me a couple things that I never knew my whole life.
Yeah. So
I mean, it didn't change. It's not life changing, but hey, it's something cool to know, especially when you're engaging in in this podcast world.
Yeah, it's another like skill to throw underneath your belt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm always like I'm a firm believer in never stop progressing, right? Like never stop learning, never stop.
I like that.
Going forward. At least because like at least then like you can't say like what was my life even? Like I don't know anything, right? Like I was never very big in like school. Like school for me was boring because it never really appealed to me. But it wasn't until we got into art school. Yeah, I know we went to an art school. Bro, it was fun.
It was the best time.
It was the best time.
It was cool.
But it wasn't until I got into art school and I just saw how everybody was just being creative and fun and everything like that, where I was like, oh, you can actually do like this stuff for fun, or you can learn a lot of there's way more to the world than just like math, doctors, lawyers, all that stuff.
There's a lot more. I mean, might not get you the same amount of money, but you're having more fun.
No, I will say you can make a good amount of money doing graphic design, web design. It's more about like getting to that seniority.
I meant right off the bat. Like,
right. Yeah, not off the bat.
Like right off the bat, a doctor would definitely make more.
Bro, what is up with your tummy?
Bro, I don't know. Something I ate earlier.
Did you have
beans?
I've
been eating a lot of Mexican lately.
Bro, I just asked if you had beans too. So
Did I? Did I have beans today? No, I did not.
Do you have frijoles?
Not frijoles.
But yeah, no, I think like all of that combined in an education purpose, like I've never been so encouraged to learn something than when it is something that I want to do, right? Like I said, like I'm taking this back to when I said I wasn't like very good in high school unless I tried. Like math, science interests me, but I didn't really get it. This stuff, like I get the technology part.
You don't like science?
No, I like it. I like the experiments. That's what I like.
Okay.
But when you start doing like, well, you have to take this graph and then combine it with this graph, find the trend of this. I'm like, I don't understand. I don't get it. It doesn't sink in. It's not secondhand nature for me.
Gotcha.
Whereas like working with computers, like tech, I figure it out like immediately. Quickly. Like, you know what I mean? But like, I have a question for you. So you were saying like, when you start getting stressed over your hobby, you kind of like need to pull back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about content creators? We're basically making content right here. So, and there's not just us, but other people make content. So what about those people who are trying to do like a grind, like trying to make a t-shirt because they want to start their own business, they want to do YouTube, they want to do podcasting, they want to do something else?
See, I cannot speak for them people because I haven't been in that situation right now. Like we're doing it strictly for fun.
Right.
We don't have a lot of overload. We don't have to basically, if we wanted to quit today, we can quit and nobody gives a shit.
Damn, tell it like it is, bro. I mean,
you get what I mean? But
no, I think everybody cares about what we're doing.
They definitely do. But
I'm just messing.
But what I'm saying is that I feel like the more people that are engaged, I feel that the more responsible we feel.
Right.
And not because I feel like the more people we like engage with us,
Mhm.
the the more responsible I'm gonna feel, and that's how I feel right now.
Mhm.
I never had you know tens, even hundreds of people engaged in my in any of my content, so I don't know how that feels.
Right.
But I would I would think it would bring a feeling of responsibility that I've never had before.
Right.
But at the same time, I kind of don't want that.
Uh-huh.
I would still want it to be about the fun. I would still want it to be laid back. But do I get to decide that? It's that stress factor I'm
Right.
talking about.
I think you can decide that. But I think it takes a lot of mental power in order to
Yeah.
to decide that, right? Like the internet is a lot,
Hmm.
right? Like in posting stuff. Like I can't imagine having like an average of 300,000 views on per video or per Spotify podcast.
Right.
I couldn't imagine that.
Like, is that going to change your point of view? Is that going to
Right.
change like the way? I don't know.
It shouldn't.
It should
It
not.
shouldn't.
I believe that it
I
should
think
not. But I've
I
never been put in that position.
I think it happens
Definitely.
because from what I've seen, right, or from what I've experienced, or I've at least experienced other people in the communities of other like YouTubers or whatever talk about, is you have this like YouTuber who is doing a review on a specific product, right? Let's say you have a MacBook, right?
Yeah.
And so you say, Apple sent me this MacBook. You can go to the comments, at least, and I've seen this on Instagram too, where people will go, oh, they sent it to him. It's an immediate sponsorship. They're not giving their honest opinions on
Yeah,
it.
I've seen that a lot.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, and some people probably are like, but some people also aren't. Cause at the same time, it's like, if Apple's sending you a MacBook for free to do a review and you get to keep it, I mean, like, and you've never had that before,
Right.
you're like,
Especially if it's like the first time or something like
yeah.
that,
And you're like, well, if I say nice things about it, they can give
Yes.
me
You gotta
more of
stay
their
tr-
products.
I guess you gotta stay true to yourself.
Right. But I think you have to evaluate, you have to know that like if you're not being true to yourself, right?
Right.
And you're not giving your honest impressions of
Yes.
that specific thing
Mm-hmm.
for a product or for whatever it is
Mm-hmm.
on the internet, people can smell it from a mile away.
Yes.
People will
I
call you
agree.
on your bullshit.
I agree.
100%.
I agree. And they and the thing is that they know that why you're doing it.
Yeah. You're doing it for the money,
For
the
the
views, and you're doing it because you're getting the product.
Exactly. So is that where the stress comes in? You get it? Like the difference of opinion, like were you being real since the beginning? Were you only doing it for the money, or were
Right.
you actually doing it,
Right.
to have fun?
Yeah. Well, you remember the book that you told me about, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the one thing in that book that it talks about, and it purely talks about, is your values. You remember that part? I know it's been a long time since
It's been a long time, dude.
Oh, I read
But
that.
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I read that book. Pedro gave me that book. I read it. It's a very insightful book. If you haven't read it, it's like, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks. Probably not even 15 bucks, like 10 bucks on Amazon.
It's a good book.
Really good book, especially for changing your point of view. And what I can say about that is it helps you define your values. If not define it, it helps you start thinking about your values
And what's real.
and what you find important. And when you find out what's important to you, you stop caring about everything else.
Yes.
Right. And so if you and I are doing this and we had the opportunity to do, we had the opportunity to do to talk about a Samsung, Samsung TV, and we're on the podcast talking about it on our impressions on it. I personally would want to give my honest impressions of it because generally that's going to help people out.
Yes.
Right. And two, like, I'm just being honest. Right.
Yes.
Like, but if I'm lying about it, it's like, this is the best product ever, you should go and buy it just because I'm expecting to get that TV. I'm being very materialistic.
So I guess so what you're saying is not get carried by your own desires.
Yes. Honing your values, sticking to your values, and don't let the products or the sponsorships or whatever it
Yeah.
is, change your values. Because the moment you start changing your values for monetary and material,
Right.
that's when things start going south, and people can see that.
Because at the end of the day, we all want to grow,
Yeah.
our channel, our podcast, or whatever.
Mhm.
We all want to grow it. But if it's not growing, with integrity, then what's the point? You need
Exactly.
that integrity. You want people to know that, your content is honest and they can trust it.
Yeah.
If not, you don't have anything.
Right. And I think
Even if you do get more Apple products. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the people that engage in your content that makes it.
At the and this isn't safe for everybody, but there's this other guy that I listen or I watch on YouTube. His name is Dave 2D, and he does tech reviews. Bro, he's the most like straightforward, blunt person you can ever. I mean, I don't know him, obviously not, but like from what I can tell from his videos, dude, he'll come on, he'll talk about the product, his honest opinions. Sometimes it can be like a little like I don't want to say harsh, but I'll say like it's very direct, and he'll say like I think he'll only have maybe 8 minutes, maybe 8-10 minutes. He'll just say
The
like,
review
of the review, and he'll say, look, listen, here are all the facts about it. This is what I think. Honestly, I don't think you should buy it, or I think you should buy it, or this is
Oh,
something
he'll
to look
legit
forward
tell
to.
you. That's cool.
Yeah, he'll tell you. I don't think you should buy this thing, and I think that's value right there.
Right.
I mean,
it takes some balls to say something like that,
Right.
because you might lose some people, you might gain some
Yeah.
people.
because everyone has their own opinions, right?
Yeah,
And so
you can't
like
please everybody.
no, and so like think about it. If you and I had like tons of viewers, and we were like, MacBooks are trash, Apple iPhones are terrible. You should get a Samsung Galaxy Note, or they don't make notes. Get a Galaxy Fold
Oh,
instead.
protest across the country.
Protest 100% better. I mean, at the end of the day, a smartphone is your own personal preference, what you prefer in a phone. It's like, do they have like their own specific things that they're better at? Sure. But like if you're like bashing one thing to promote another thing because they give you that thing, you're leading the people wrong. But people don't care about that. Like that's where I kind of get into like you went from being, everybody has small and humble beginnings, right?
Yes.
You start small. You're like, this is my honest opinion. I'm doing reviews. And this isn't just about reviews. It could be about anything. It could be, I don't know, you do makeup on YouTube, right? Or you do snowboarding lessons on YouTube. And the moment you get something from somebody, you just switch. Like you don't conform to that.
Always stay helping people.
Exactly.
I guess hobby is one thing. And then when you making, I guess switch it up to, being something productive, you maybe monetize it.
Yeah.
Stay true to that. Stay true to helping people, because I feel like if you switch it up, I mean, you switch from helping people to helping yourself.
Right. And then people do notice that.
Yes.
Like
people do notice that because they know when your content is not giving them any value.
No. But like most importantly, I think I know it's talked about a lot now, right? But mental health, right?
Yes.
I think it can help a great deal, especially if you're going through a hard time. Like I know for me, like I said, snowboarding, video games is another thing. I mean, I've been doing a lot of like the thumbnails for this podcast, and stuff like that. And I'm enjoying the process. Like I'm not trying to focus on like, oh man, I'm tired. I mean, I am tired, but like I'm not trying to focus on that. So I'm trying to just enjoy the process. We're sitting here, we're enjoying, we're recording, blah blah blah. And it's like and I'm enjoying that process, creating the thumbnails. It's fun. Like I'm having a great time doing it. When I was at my last job, I was doing web design at my job, web design, web development, and then web banners as well. And I was coming home and I was trying to do stuff for our like main umbrella business, GLFX.
Yeah.
And bro, I got burnt out. I was so burnt out.
Just doing it just all day,
constant
waking up,
design
doing it all day.
And I'm like, it's like I didn't want to do it. I think it took me about 2.5 years to actually be like, you know what? I want to start designing again. 2.5 years.
Just taking a break.
That's a long break, bro.
It is a long ass break.
That's a long. I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
I came home. I barely wanted to play video games. I barely wanted to play or to design anything. And so I would literally just come home. I would sit down and watch TV. I would pass out on my
Yeah.
chair, and I'd be like, "Damn, I wasted a whole bunch of time. Like I want to actually do something else." And I just couldn't. I got back into games a little bit, but then obviously life took over, and that's kind of where it fell back. But like overall, like I even now I don't come home and say, you know what, I want to design a web page, because I still do web design.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, has that changed now since you're not at GraphCom? Do you feel like you see yourself doing more graphic design, or do you still see yourself doing less?
See, I see myself doing less graphic design, but when people come to me and they request a logo or something that they need design wise, I no longer feel like I need to do it. So I'm in a way I feel a little bit lazy about it,
Right.
because back when I was actually working with a design company, it was my job.
Right.
So I had to do it. I had to wake up in the morning, go to the office. I was there to do a job.
Yeah.
And now it's more like I don't have anybody up my ass to,
Yeah.
make me do this stuff. So in a way I had to learn how to cope with that.
Right. Do you see graphic design as a hobby? For you?
Right now, yes, I see it as a hobby, and now I see it as, just because I see it as a hobby, right?
Yeah.
And I discovered that it just recently. I see it as a hobby, and I really thank God that I'm naturally talented at design.
Honestly, you're kind of okay, bro. No, this kid is fantastic.
I'm all right. But I consider myself talented.
Let me send, or I want to post. I'm gonna throw something up on the screen. Something recent that you did. So send me something. Okay. And I want to throw up on the screen so people can see the most recent.
All right, I will throw some examples, but I consider myself talented. I see it as a hobby.
Yeah,
I enjoy doing it. And I feel because of that, I take it for granted. I took it for granted. So, you know how many, and I thought of all this just recently, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know how many people in the world would love to be talented at something?
Yeah.
When there's people in the world that are naturally talented at that, but what they do, they take it for granted.
They're looking at them. No, I'm serious. Like, I don't personally, I don't think I'm really talented at anything. I think I'm fairly average at a lot of things.
No, I think you're talented at a lot of things.
No, I think I'm very average at a lot of things. I've learned to get good at certain things, but like even in video games, right? Video games, I was about to say talented. Video games, average. Personally, web design, graphic design, average. Like tech, whatever, average.
See,
like,
I don't see that. I don't see that. You see the difference in perspective.
Sure. Yeah.
See, that's how I would see myself in design maybe a couple months back.
Bro, you would see yourself as average?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Bro, okay,
yeah,
but
right.
This is what I mean. You know what I mean? The stuff that we have, the opportunities that we have, especially living in the United States.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have the opportunities. A lot of people don't have the talent. A lot of people don't have, what we have around us. And, a lot of times we take that for granted. And even if you are looking for a hobby, even if you are, stressed out, just take a step back and look around you and look already at what you already have.
Yeah. I think the problem comes with like hobbies. When you're doing it to try to make a business out of it, I think the struggle becomes on how to balance the two, like your hobby and actually like making it your business, your job or your business. Like how do you balance that? Do you know what I mean?
I think it's purpose. It's purpose.
What
believing that, I mean, you're talented. You look at it as a job, and just by seeing the fact that not everybody has the same opportunity as you, that should give you a sense of responsibility that, hey, I'm put in this world to do this.
Right.
And whoever comes to me, it's like, I'm going to help them out as best as I can.
Right. But
you don't have to go out there and like get carried away with the desire to monetize this.
No.
But just focus on helping people with what you have.
Right. But I think the issue comes, especially now in 2023. I think, well, and soon coming up 2024. I'm fast forwarding this, bro. Like I'm like about to throw us into 2024 right now. But I think the issue comes along is like, I've been thinking about this. Like a lot of my friends are very unhappy with their jobs. And myself,
a lot of people live like this,
right? Myself included. Like I'm trying, like I have my own grievances with my job, and I'm trying to be very positive and taking each day as it comes and just being like, it's whatever. Like I'll move on to something else eventually, right? But from now I need to stay here. I need to gain whatever knowledge I need to gain, and then I'll move on to whatever else it is. And it's hard because like you're in this environment that you don't like, or you're at this job that you don't like. And so I think that's, at least for me, I think that's why a lot of people will try to form their own business, their side hustle,
right?
Because they want to get out of that, like they want to get out of that job. They want to get out, so they want to replace it with something else. So it starts becoming, it goes from like, well, what am I good at doing? Right. And that's, in this case for you, we'll just say graphic design. It's like, cool, you're good at graphic design. So how can I use this to make it into business, make more money?
I want to interrupt you there.
Go for it.
You said that they don't like. They don't like where they work at. You don't like where you work at, right? And then when you switched up to, you know, what am I good at?
Right.
You know, to make money. You didn't say the same question. It's like, what do you like? Like I said, I'm good at designing, but I like playing video games.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I get. Yeah.
So my question to you is, why wouldn't you or your friends or anybody? Why wouldn't they like their jobs?
Well, it depends.
Give me a couple reasons.
It depends what their values are, right? So I'll just, because I don't want to speak for anybody else. I want to speak for myself. So for me, I find value in being able to have an environment where I feel as though I can be creative, which I have. I do. I want an environment where I can have friends and be socially interactive, which I don't have.
Okay.
Right. I also don't have a 401k or any type of health benefits at this job, which adds to my additional stress and cost. I get paid more, but it adds to my additional stress. It's like, well, most companies supply that for you. Where going to get your own insurance is way more expensive. I can manage my own finances, so I don't really think I need a 401k. I've been putting away money just fine, but it comes with that. And then it's just there's like subtle things that add to it. So
the 401k, this is your savings for the future.
Sure.
Correct?
Yeah.
And
do you not have one?
Huh? Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
I do.
Bro, you told me you put pennies in a piggy bank.
Yeah, pennies in a piggy bank for my 401k. Yeah. When I have like 25 cents rounded up, I just put it in Robinhood.
Let me go to Walmart, put it, you know, the coin machine that they got up?
Yeah.
Let me put it in the coin machine. And I mean, just
pennies. Yeah, I do have a 401k, but yeah. So your main concern would be 401k and social life in the workplace.
Yeah. I need a positive environment where I can be creative.
Yeah.
Have the normal benefits that I can get. And something that I've been looking for is the freedom to do the things that I want to do without being constrained by time. Right?
Okay.
And so I'll expand on that. So you get a job, right? In my case, I work from 8 to 5. I have to drive from Lancaster to Elizabethtown. 22-minute drive. Way better than my last job, where I drove 45 minutes to Harrisburg and back.
Yep.
Which is a lot. But I got to get up at 6:30, which is honestly for some people like that's early. Or sorry, that's late. You know, like
Yeah.
some people get up even earlier than that. I'm not a big morning person. If anything, I like to stay up later. I'll stay up until 3 a.m. I'll stay up until like 4 a.m. do work, and then I'll go to bed and get up like at like 10 or 11 o'clock, whatever. Or you can argue that that's a waste of a day, but whatever.
So it seems to me that you don't like the company you're working for.
There,
Because
well,
like, do you
for it.
actually like what you do?
I like what I do, but what I've realized is that I don't find fulfillment in what the company represents. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like, I think the company, what they do, I think it's very wholesome. I think it helps a lot of people, and I think it's a good business model to have. I've noticed a lot of people are very passionate about what they do at my job, but that doesn't resonate with me. You know what I mean?
About like, you do web design, right?
I do web design, but so the company, I don't want to put their name out there.
Yeah, don't.
So I don't want to put their name out there.
Don't.
But they specialize in, basically, I'll say they help workers. I'll say that. And I think I commend them for taking that approach. And it comes from a very wholesome background from the CEO.
Right.
And I think it's a great business. But what that doesn't resonate with me, like what they do, what they represent, like, or not represent, but what the company is selling, the product that they're selling, it's not my thing. Like, I think it's cool, but it's not something that I'd be like, man, I got to fight tooth and nail to make this happen to help them build their company. Right. But also, I've always had the business mindset, or at least since college, where when you go work for somebody, you're helping them fulfill their dream while you forget about your own. You know what I mean?
I can agree and disagree.
Right. And so that's kind of where my thing is. It's like, if you're willing to go to a company and work 8, 10, 12 hours for that job, getting paid whatever they're paying you, but then you come home and you're like, man, I really want to start content creating. Man, I really want to do a sewing business. Man, I really want to, I don't know, teach people how to snowboard or whatever, teach people how to do graphic design. Right. But you're like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I feel like a lot of people have ambitions and they have hobbies that they want to do, but they never follow through with them because they're so burnt out from their job. They're burnt out from their everyday life. You know what I mean? And so they prioritize another person's dream over their own dream, and they forget about it and push it to the side, so that way they can focus on the job that they're working for. Do you know what I'm saying? That's kind of what.
No, I get what you're saying. It's like you also have dreams that you want, like, especially when it comes to business, because I feel like if you want to work on your own dreams, we're talking about this subject specifically. You mean that starting your own business, if that is your dream,
right?
If that is your dream,
right? I guess to wrap it up for myself, so I can let you talk.
Yeah.
The main reason why I see a business as for me, I see it as a means of freedom. A freedom to kind of come and go as I please and do the things that I want to do. Whereas with a job, I feel restricted. You know, like, you have to be there at 8 o'clock. Otherwise, they start like, hey, you're not here on time. You keep it up, and we're going to fire you. Like, it's solely dependent on like your performance. Whereas like if we were doing the podcast full time, we could start at any point. As long as we do what we need to do, we can start at whatever time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Me, I would much rather get up at like later in the day, like 8, 9 o'clock, than get up at 6 o'clock and put in the same amount of work. There's a whole bunch of variables. I can go on all day about that, but that's not what we're talking about. But that's kind of why, like, I have that mindset of like, I want control over what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, so I can do it at my own leisure. Pun intended.
Right. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
But now I got another question.
Nope, no more questions. We're done.
No, okay, we're done. All right, so that wraps it up.
That was episode 5 of LeisureHub Podcast.
No, but what I mean is, see, now this whole thing started in loving what you do.
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Do you see yourself still building websites while being in control?
No, I don't.
Are you still going to love what you do?
Would I still love web design?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in specific, like, I guess because running a job, I almost feel like that's even more exhausting because, I mean, it comes with you, you know,
Mm-hmm.
these people get to leave at 5 and maybe forget about it.
Some
But
people.
some people, right.
Some people.
Some people. But then I feel like if you're the owner, like everything about the job comes with you. Like you are the business.
Right.
So like all the contacts, people are going to be calling you, you know, late at night or
Mm-hmm.
emails. You know, I feel like it's more work mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, I mean, personally, I don't know if I have the mental capacity to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's an area I can't talk about because I haven't been there. But I could only imagine the burden and stress that you know, a business owner like that has to go through.
Yeah. But
I mean, they have freedom, but you know, they have to. I feel like they have, like, their mental has to be on point.
Yeah. Well, look at it this way, right? I mean, we have our parent company, GLFX. That's our own version of a business,
Right.
And then we have the LeisureHub Podcast, which is, I guess you could say, is the subcategory of it. It's just like a branch of that. So in GLFX, we do graphic design, web design, blah blah blah. In web design, I don't think I'm in love with graphic or web design right now.
You're not.
No.
Why is that? Sorry, I'm gonna let you finish.
No, it's okay. I'm like trying to gather my thoughts over here, but
Very good.
I'm not in love with it anymore because, or as much as I used to be, because web design was never something that I knew I wanted to do. It was something that I kind of found out that I wanted to do. And when I found out that I wanted to do it, I was like, oh, this is cool. Mm-hmm. But from before I even left college, I distinctly remember one of our teachers talking about, like, oh, I can get you a job referral. You can go and do an internship.
Right.
And you know, in like movies or cartoons where they'll do there's this like ringing going on and all the background noise fades out, but you can only hear.
Yeah, they just like zoned out.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what ended up happening to me.
Like, wait, I don't want this.
Like, I don't. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't want that. Like, I don't want to work for somebody else. Right. That was my first realization of like wanting to do my own thing business wise. And then I kind of like expanded on that idea. Haven't really gotten very far with it, but what I can say is like, yeah, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of mental power, and it's a lot of like, you're steering your ship.
Yeah.
And that ship, you have like, especially if you're a larger company, you got people that you're bringing on along with you. If that ship sinks, you're bringing them with you.
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. Like, so you got to make sure that company is doing well because they have family, they have kids to feed, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Right now, the way that I see the whole process and exactly the way that I saw it in the very beginning with GLFX was that this is just supposed to be for fun. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be for fun, and we can make money doing it.
Right.
Like, I'm not concerned about it. I'm not thinking about it. Blah blah blah. I'm just trying to have a good time with the people that I'm doing it with.
Right.
And I distinctly remember in the very beginning when we first started GLFX, we went through like tons of different name changes. Oh my God,
Eating Creatives.
Well, Eating Creatives, Intertwine, Think Creatives. That was the very first one.
Think Design.
Yeah, or Think Design.
Oh my God.
Oh man, it was such a crazy time. We eventually came on to GLFX, but I remember during the very beginning, it was like I was so passionate about it. I was like, dude, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have all these people. We're gonna have like the people that we made friends with. We're gonna have our friends a part of it.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do all this, and it was fun. And I think the first reality check for me was, you remember Dylan?
Yes.
We went to his wedding.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, he ended up leaving because he's like, I need a real job. I need to make money.
It was completely understandable.
Yeah, completely understandable. He's like, I need to, like, I'm moving in with my wife, and we want to have kids, and we want to get a house and stuff like that. Start saving up for a house, and it's like I can't be a part of this anymore. I appreciate you having me part of it. I understood, but that was the first reality check.
Yeah.
Still doing it for fun though. I think it wasn't until, and this is around my burnout. And my burnout was like probably so we were doing it since we were in college. So probably around like 20 for me, like 2021.
Was it?
Like I was 20.
Yeah,
in
right.
2020, 21. So this is like 2015, 2014. And I distinctly remember, well, at least recently, as of like 2.5 years ago, when my burnout happened, was we were doing a client, I was doing a website for a client from California. You remember?
Yes.
That client was supposed to be 3 months long, web design. And I was making a Spotify website, or not a Spotify, Shopify website. Got Spotify on the mind. And that project ended up taking a little over a year. 3 months turned into a year. Yeah. Why? Because the client didn't want to pay.
I think about it. This is a year.
This is a
year worth of time. No. Continue.
Wasted.
Continue.
Where I could have been focusing on something else. And so in that year, the project was already done in 3 months. Like I said, it was a struggle to get it done by 3 months, a lot of sleepless nights, but I got it done. The issue was that she didn't want to pay. And it's like, you have to pay. Like, this is what you signed the contract. This is what we agreed on. She didn't respond. So I kept following up. What had her respond was like, now I'm going to send you a fee because you're not responding. Yeah. That immediately made her respond.
Yes.
And so I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Eventually, she was like, well, I need this fixed. I need this fixed. I need this fixed. I fixed all of it. And she was like, is there any way that we can waive those fees? And I was like, no, there's no way that I've tried being nice. Like I tried helping you. Like I did this in 3 months. I gave you reminders, and
the price wasn't even close to what it should have been.
No. So just for some insight, if you're doing a Shopify website, building it, I mean coding it. That's what I was doing. I don't mean like you're going on Shopify and you're setting up for it. You could still charge a good amount for it. But if you're doing a Shopify website, from what I found, those sites can easily go for like 20, 30 grand.
Wow.
And you know how much we did it for?
I know, well, you can tell them.
I mean, I'll just say it. I don't really care. $1,200. She couldn't go above that's what the total was with all the fees tagged onto it. Before that, she couldn't do any more, like $800.
Oh man,
a year of work for $800. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You tell me, like, that was the beginning of my burnout. There was a couple other clients that we had that were tough to deal with.
Yeah,
one of them stole some of our designs, or like ripped some of the designs, and at that point, like I was mentally fatigued. Like I was burnt out.
Yeah, and we don't have a lot of insight, especially in the business side of it. So we just kind of went with what we had. But hey, we're still here.
We're still here
doing a podcast.
Trying to do a podcast, and I hope you guys really like this episode. I had a lot of fun doing this one.
Yeah, this one was very, very insightful.
Is there anything that you want to leave everybody off with before we wrap this one up in a nice little pink bow?
I would say that, there's a thin line between hobbies and hobbies that we use to monetize. And I guess just have fun. Always try to help others while having fun yourself.
Yeah.
And just know that if things start turning the other way, then maybe you need to, step back a little bit and reevaluate.
Wise words from Pedro. No, I agree. I agree on your point of if your hobby that you're trying to use as a means to make more money, or as like a side business, side hustle, starts becoming stressful, you need to pull back a little bit,
right? Because
you're gonna end up losing your love for that thing.
Right, maybe you're focusing more on the money,
than
what you actually like.
And I know we said we're gonna wrap up, but that's
what it is.
But that's what my issue was when with GLFX. It went from being about fun, and then I was like, man, we got to make this happen. We got to make money.
Yes.
And then that's what kind of shifted my whole burnout.
It's not fun
and
anymore.
It wasn't fun. So just trying to have fun with things nowadays. Like I'm just trying to have fun with this podcast.
Live in the moment, chilling.
Live in the moment. Have fun with my buddy Pedro. We talk about
Pedro.
my co-host Pedro.
My co-host.
My co-host Pedro. And we're just
Son,
having a
I'm
good
fucking
time with
with
this podcast. What do you say?
I'm fucking with you.
Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out.
I'm messing with you.
But I mean, I really like this one. I hope we have a whole bunch of more for you guys later down the road. A lot more kind of like this. We're gonna try to switch it up. We won't all like a lot of like our topics will probably be game oriented. That's what we like the most.
Yeah, love gaming.
But
I indulge in it.
But we have a variety of stuff. So
all right, guys. Well,
all right, guys.
Thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you guys so much for listening. And if you want to know why Pedro is called Tatty Daddy,
bro, stop. I mean, bro, you said we were gonna be finished like 10 minutes ago.
We got to keep going. We keep going because the podcast never stops.
I gotta fight.
I've been peeing my pants this entire time.
Me too, actually. All right, bro.
All right, peace, man.